What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Triple H podcast, Happy Hour Hoops. And gentlemen, we have an NBA Finals series on our hands. It's not what we expected. It's not what the media expected. Pacers up 2-1. Here with Steve and Jake to talk about it on Happy Hour Hoops. It's not the finals everyone desired, guys, but I'm having a fucking blast watching it. How about you guys?
You know how I feel about this Indiana Pacers team. You know how I felt about their playoff run. So, seeing what they did last night, Dunny, to win game three, they won it in the most Indiana Pacers way possible. This team has been an absolute blast to watch. And I know we talked about it and we all picked the Thunder. And I think we were giving the Pacers a lot more credit than most people were coming into this finals. I I can't wait to see what the rest of this finals is because it's a legitimate shot this team wins the NBA Finals, and there's going to be a lot of media personalities that are going to be sick to their stomach watching Tyrese Halliburton win a championship before all their favorite players. So I'm very excited what this finals is. I think the Thunder are going to fight back. I mean, we've seen what the Thunder have been doing. They've kind of dominated pretty much 85% of this series if we're talking about just minutes on the floor. But man, I mean, if you wanted to show someone, what this Indiana Pacers team was about, from this entire season or this entire playoff run, you just show them last night's game. You show them, you don't even show them the full game. You show them about 10 minutes of the game, all right? You show them the first 6 minutes of the fourth quarter. You show them the first 6 minutes of the fourth quarter last night, and then you show them that 4 to 8 minute stretch where TJ McConnell and Ben Mathurin just said, "We're taking this game over." That's what you show them. You just show them those 10 minutes. That is the Indiana Pacers this year. I will dive into it more because I could run through a brick wall from what I saw from TJ McConnell at the end of the first quarter, start of the second quarter. But man, guys, I mean, as basketball fans, that was just another just joyous Pacers game, and I don't remember a team that isn't one of like my quote unquote like favorite teams or a team I'm going to root for, right? Outside that I have found myself like enjoying more than this Indiana Pacers team in this playoff run. They have given us such enjoyable and entertaining basketball games.
Yeah, they haven't. It hasn't been for the faint of heart ever for the Indiana Pacers, including in this series. Like we haven't talked at all since this series started. We previewed game. We were on before game one, and Halliburton does it again. He's 3 series in a row. It doesn't even fucking matter how this series ends. The fact that he did the same thing like that 3 in a row in opposing buildings every time too.
I know.
It's fucking crazy. So this run is awesome no matter what, but the Thunder are absolutely not out of it.
No.
Everybody's bringing it up. I don't think this team is the next Warriors, but the Warriors were down 2-1 to a bum Cavs team in 2015 and stormed back. Game 4, typically in the NBA Finals and in basketball series in general, is the pivot point. Game 3, people like to do it if it's a 1-1 series. Game 4 is where you find out everything. Like this is where you know the teams well enough. You've had games in both home and away for both teams, so you know the vibe of everything. Everything's on the table for game 4, in my opinion. I don't think that means any. I think it means that it's probably going to be a 1 possession game down to the end, like it basically has been all series. But guys, I'm not surprised by what's happened. Like I thought the Thunder would be up in this series by now. I'm not surprised that the Pacers are up in this series. Like nothing has shocked me. Nothing has played out. The one thing that is a little, I mean, it's not shocking, but I wasn't expecting it, was the way that, especially last night, that the OKC offense looked late. I mean, what was it? It is like 1 bucket in the last 5:57 or something like that, 1 field goal. And that's the worry. Listen, I don't know if it's never, but when you have the scoring leader, you really don't usually win the NBA title. Like it's throughout history, it's not a good track record of it, and you're seeing it. I'm not saying it's all the time, but you see it in some of these clutch moments in these 3 games where they're doing a lot of standing, and then you get to the Pacers end of this court, and it's like the exact opposite. And it looks like 2 different games, especially last night. the contrast was so stark in that fourth quarter that I was like sitting there still, like even in the third quarter, like I'm sitting there, third quarter starting, Thunder start off a little hot, and they're up 2 right there, and I said out loud, I'm like, oh, the Thunder are gonna be up by like 12 here. Like this, like it felt like a typical Thunder game. Like they're gonna be able to pace it out, and then no pun intended, and then just put the hammer down. And the Pacers were just like, nah, you don't get to do that against us. I don't think the Thunder have been punched in, like, I don't think they've lost a game like that where they kind of got controlled, right? Like they've lost some flukes. Like they've lost, the Aaron Gordon shot, like that, like these types of things. They just got manhandled in the last 6 minutes. And they looked shell shocked too. So I don't know how to expect OKC to respond, because I haven't seen OKC lose a game like that this year.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy stuff. Do you guys want to just stay with this series and we can kind of do the news, Knicks stuff, and some trade?
Yeah, we got all summer to talk about the Knicks hypotheticals. All right, let's talk about the games that are actually on right now.
So last night, obviously, all Thunder and 5 bettors are dead now. We said Thunder and 6 on this program, so that's still alive. If I had a chance to change mine, I would. So I don't think that's going to happen, but it is still alive. Pacers are 2 wins away from the NBA championship. Teams that have led 2-1 in NBA Finals series are 81% of the time end up going on to win said series. So yes, still anyone's series in my opinion, but Pacers really in control of this one. I think it was huge for them just to get that first win at home last night. This has just kind of been the way it's been and the way the Pacers have been covered. But so we had that game 1, right? Halliburton does it again. The Pacers do it again. They have the comeback. Then game 2, weren't ever really in it. OKC kind of handled business there. And then the narrative after game 2 again was just, oh, well, OKC, fluke game 1. This is how the rest of the games are going to go. And for some reason, everyone bought into that. And then, Pacers show up in game 3, and here we are. I sent this to you guys today. This was crazy to me, but the scoring margins in every quarter in these NBA Finals. First quarter, OKC plus 23. Second quarter, OKC plus 3. Third quarter, OKC plus 7. Fourth quarter, Indiana plus 27. And it reads crazy as a stat, but also if you watch the games, like it makes sense. So this Pacers group is they're as fun as they are. They just play as a team, man. And I think our brains have kind of been programmed and maybe even rotted a little bit that superstars need to get you to this point. You kind of need one of those guys to hoist the trophy. And the Pacers are 2 wins away for kind of proving that narrative wrong, and definitely deserve their flowers. And it's nuts. We had a TJ McConnell game pretty much last night. Oh, well, Benedict Mathurin game, but Pacers bench game, I guess, overall.
Well, that was the thing, right, is the TJ McConnell stealing inbounds passes, playing on, full court, the drives he had, the passes he's made, his little floaters. Like you said, Dunny, it was a true TJ McConnell type game. And I think that was where the turning point was, because once again, you have OKC off to a strong start in the first quarter, right? They're up, I think it was 9 points when McConnell entered the game. I can't remember the exact margin when he came in, but it's a chance where, OKC, if they get in a little bit of run here, they can get this to 15. And I know the Pacers at 15 is scary, but that's a pretty comfortable lead, and that's what you like to see. And it was the opposite. And the Indiana Pacers, we've seen, we talk about the fourth quarters all the time, Dunny, but I think one thing that's kind of underrated about this Pacers team this year is when they're able to start their bench guys coming off the floor, right? When it's like late first quarter, early second, you got guys like Obi Toppin. You got guys like McConnell who comes into the game. Ben Mathurin last night. And, most teams, that's a disadvantage when you got to play your bench guys, right? We saw in the next series, that's a disadvantage. With the Boston Celtics, Dunny, it's a disadvantage when you got to play. Like, for most teams, it's a disadvantage when you got to go to your bench a little earlier, guys getting foul trouble. It's crazy as to say, it's almost an advantage for this Indiana Pacers team. I mean, you had Nemhard and Neesmith you had Siakam in foul trouble in the first half, and this team doesn't miss a beat because they could just pull these guys off the bench, and they almost made Oklahoma City more uncomfortable than with the starters out there. And I think, TJ McConnell is the perfect example of that. Oklahoma City was not ready for some of his steals he had, his inbound steals, the pressure he put on, the way he would drive and kick it. Like, they just weren't ready for that. And I think that gives the Pacers such an advantage because they have so many of these guys that almost play a little unorthodox in today's style of the NBA play, where it just makes teams uncomfortable. It gets them out of their rhythm. And you saw from the moment that happened, late first, early second quarter, the game kind of changed, and then you saw it again in the fourth quarter with how these guys plays. The Pacers, like I said, the reason I love them so much is because most trips down the floor, everybody's touching the ball. Very rarely is it iso ball NBA, and that's what a lot of teams resort to. And with Oklahoma City, late game, it turns into iso ball for them. And that just can't happen in this series. And the Pacers showed how they can make a team as deep and as balanced and as athletic as the Thunder uncomfortable. And I got to say, this was probably the most impressive win I've seen from the Pacers all postseason. They took the best team in the NBA and they made them uncomfortable. And I hate bringing this up again, Jake, but once again, that's what they did to the Cavs. And it was the first time we saw it against the Cavs. And last night was the first time we saw it against the Thunder. They made an elite 65-plus win team uncomfortable.
You can make it that point as much as you want nowadays. I want to hear that all summer long. Listen, I've every day I feel better and better about the Cavs playoff ways, because everything you're saying is exactly right. And it's making me rethink how I imagine a winning championship level basketball team at this point. Because always, I've told you guys, even before this playoff started, I said, I only give a shit about who your best seven are. I don't care about anything else. I don't know if you can live that way in the second apron world anymore. I don't know if you I don't know if you can pay only 7 good players on your team and really win that title. Like the Celtics last year were the last gasp of super team era. Like, we're just gonna pay this roster out and we don't give a fuck what the repercussions are. And now you see the repercussions. Like, now that they are dealing with repercussions, and I don't know if you can build a team like that. That's what worries me about this Cavaliers situation. With no matter what they do in this summer, they have 4 prior price guys. But the Pacers are the exact opposite. The Pacers, they pay basically Pascal and Halliburton I think it's 40-something% of their cap or something. And then they have a ton of guys in the 7 to 15 million range that have all stepped up throughout this whole playoff run at one time or another. You talk about Mathurin last night. You talk about Toppin, Nemhard. All these guys are guys I would die for on my team for sure to be contributors. And they're not doing it every night. But this team doesn't need them to do it every night. And I've never seen it like that for a team playing at the level that they're playing, the caliber of a championship team that they're at right now, to be running it this way. It's been few and far between since I've been a NBA fan. So it's hella impressive. And it's really similar to the shock and awe I feel like from the 2011 finals with Rick Carlisle. And I feel like Rick Carlisle, he's the one denominator in the 2 most head scratching finals results that we're heading towards. And this is not a result yet, but the Dallas Mavericks beating the Heat was the most shocking result we had seen probably this century in a finals. And we could be heading to a similar way that way here. And we got to just give credit to that guy. I mean, just the fact that the man being that adaptable, he's now won, he could win titles, in another location. He's been a coach for championship level teams with the Pistons and then going to the Mavs. And now this team, one of the all-time greats. And he's putting on a clinic again against a coach who everybody's talking about, Daniel, he's the next one. He's the next guy. He's going to be at OKC forever. And he's this boy genius and everything else. And honestly, got cooked last night. That last 6 minutes, put in a blender. They couldn't do anything offensively. So shout out Carlisle, because this is crazy.
From watching the games, do you guys think, because I think it was shocking game 1 for everyone, going away from the double big with Hartenstein and Chet, and then he kind of elected to stay with that even after losing. But now here we are after 3 games, and them not really using Hartenstein all that much. I will say too, Hartenstein hasn't looked great every time he's out there. But do you guys think that's a little weird at all, or based on the way the games have played out, it kind of makes sense for OKC, even though they find themselves down 2-1. Like, you're a 68 win team, and what led you to that was being able to play this double big lineup for most of the season. I know Chet was injured, so there was all that time where it was just Hartenstein, and Hartenstein was injured for a little bit too. But like, the bulk of their dominance has come when they're able to play both of those guys. Chet, had a pretty good game in the box score. He was 0 for 6 shooting last night. Hartenstein, a couple times this series, has kind of just looked lost out there. What do you guys think about that? Like, do you think Dagnall shaking it up is a little questionable here, or too soon to tell, or doesn't really matter?
I think he's trying to almost match with the Pacers. Like, the Pacers are a smaller team, and the Pacers want to run, and I don't think you can run with them with the two bigs. And we talked about it before the series started, Dunny. He has the luxury of being able to switch the lineups around because the Thunder are one of the few teams that can run with that team because they have that depth. And to be honest with you, I don't think Chet or Jalen Williams played bad last night. I thought they both played solid games. And you're going to tell me, you're going to get that out of Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren. Like, I'll take my chances with the Thunder. Hartenstein has kind of been, it felt like the odd man out when you see the lineups. It almost feels like the Pacers, I don't want to say necessarily attack him, but they kind of, construct their lineup in a way where it makes Hartenstein feel like he probably doesn't fit on the floor right now. He can get boards here and there, but he's almost a liability. But I don't question the Thunder's decision. I don't question Dagnall's decision. You got to match with your opponents, and I think the Pacers are, to what a lot of people didn't think, where the Thunder were kind of like dictating how this series is going to go, the flow of it, and the lineups you're going to have to match with. It's actually been the Pacers who have kind of been like, all right, this is what we're running out at you. You got to match with us, and that comes down to coaching, I think, a little bit, but I also think that comes down to how young this Thunder team is. And like I said, last night they were uncomfortable, and certain situations, when you have a young team, Dunny, when you said you're switching the lineups around, it's going to make them uncomfortable. Whether or not that it's probably the best suited lineup for the matchup at the time, it's still not what you're used to. Like you said, right? This is a 68-win team that, yeah, they dealt with some injuries, but for the most part, they knew what their five was. They knew what the guys coming off the bench were. And now it's making them a little uncomfortable right now, switching it up. So I can't really fault them because I think coaches have to tinker. You don't want coaches to just be like, all right, this is what we're going to do. But to a point, it feels like the Pacers and Rick Carlisle right now are the ones dictating this is how it's going to go. You're going to have to match with us. We don't care that we're the underdogs. We don't care that we were 5-1 to win the NBA Finals. We just know it's first to 4 games, and that's the mindset they're playing with right now. And I think the Thunder are like, okay, like they're playing it kind of like a chess match, and the Thunder are the ones who are kind of playing defensive right now, right? Where you're just kind of trying to protect your king and you're just trying to, play that's how I feel like the Thunder are playing. They're not playing attacking right now like I feel like they have in every other playoff series.
Yeah, I agree. And it's the other thing too, like leading into this final series, all I could think about is just like how good OKC actually is and how deep they are. Because remember, I think this is the Minnesota series, right, where we had the Kenrich Williams game, and you're like, oh my God, even this guy's like their 10th, 11th, 12th man's coming in, playing meaningful minutes, hitting shots when they, are going to this guy, and they actually have the confidence to go to a guy who didn't even play much in the regular season. And then you have guys like Isaiah Joe, Cason Wallace, Aaron Wiggins, obviously Caruso's great off the bench. But this Pacers team is making me like look at this OKC team and their bench and their depth and be like, oh, maybe it wasn't that great after all. Because, and not that those guys aren't great players, but just the scale against the Pacers bench, it's like McConnell, Toppin, Mathurin, all these guys are having these huge like series altering moments in these games. And last night, obviously, the biggest show of that with McConnell, like you guys mentioned, just stealing everything, stealing inbounds passes. I think SGA had 6 turnovers last night. And so where Halliburton really bounced back and had a huge game, you really got to credit the second unit for the Pacers, like we talked about, and it's just bizarre because being up in the NBA Finals 2-1 against this OKC team is so impressive, but it's almost more impressive that like just watching the games, like how the Pacers team has me thinking about the Thunder team. It basically what I'm getting is like this Pacers team is the only team this year that has made this OKC team look mortal.
Right.
And it's scary stuff, man. And it's a young team, so I'm sure you're a little shell shocked. Like you said, they're just uncomfortable, and it's becoming evident. So we've seen this team bounce back all year. We've seen them, respond. We've seen them win a ton of these games in playoffs by 20 plus. So it's very possible for them to get back in this series, but man, they better get their head rights first before they can start making any making any noise here.
And they were first team to make the Cavs look mortal. The Pacers
and they didn't get their heads on right. That team did not, and that's what I wonder about this Thunder team. Like tomorrow night, first of all, the fact that it's the 3 to 4 always in the finals with the only thing that's basically the one day in between is always an interesting thing because those guys were exhausted. Everybody on the court was exhausted by the end of last night. It was such a physical game. But yeah, what is the psyche of the Thunder going into that game? What is do they look like the same Thunder that they've gone into every game, like with the swagger and everything else, or is it going to be a tense atmosphere? That place is going to be loud. It's going to be the toughest environment they've ever played in. Like it really is like. This is all flipped on this. We've been talking about the Pacers all playoffs long, and rightfully so. Now this is all I care about is how the Thunder respond. I don't care what the Pacers do tomorrow night. What are you made of, Oklahoma City? Like this is an inflection point on this whole thing, this whole build. Because if you shy away in this moment, think of the questions that are going to be asked all summer, all next year. If they lose this game and go down 3-1, like it's a dark turn where they're looking at right now. They're staring in the face. So I'm interested to see how they respond.
I know if you scroll far enough, you can find any toxic NBA tweet you probably can think up on X. But last night, I mean, in dribbling into this morning, like I was seeing some shit where Thunder fans were questioning Chet. Chet had 20 and 10 last night.
Yeah, come on.
And this is like Pacers. That's what the Pacers are doing to Thunder's fan right now. Like
somebody said
Chet's future in OKC.
Somebody tweeted, "We're really gonna have to talk about SGA's legacy if they lose this series." I said, "SGA's legacy? He's 26. He just won the MVP. We're gonna be done now. It's over." I said, "It's like LeBron in 08 when I had to fight off every single human being on planet Earth. Like we're gonna do that to SGA now."
That's how NBA fans are.
If it's over, I always say, if it's over for him at 26, we all got no hope then because they're way more talented than any of us. Bro.
I mean,
what the fuck am I gonna do at 28? So I'm gonna hope that he can figure it out.
You saw the hate Luka got after losing to the Celtics.
Can we bring up this post right now? Because this is crazy.
But it's just it's crazy how NBA fans are just like, all right, like if you don't win it, like all right, we're out on you. We're done. We're done. Like, yeah, well that you can't show that. That's fake news. Come on now. They'll never mention that on any of the.
After I was defending SGA, I do have to bring this up because.
Yeah, for those just watching on YouTube, or for those just listening, excuse me, and not watching on YouTube or Twitter, Luka last year, his blow-by percentage in the finals was 67%, and we remember how bad Luka was getting cooked in some of those games. I think people were even unfairly, clipping his defense and trying to make him look bad. But there was definitely some clips that were pretty real out there that looked bad for Luka. Well, SGA in these finals, 3 games in, has a 70% blow-by rate. So defenders are getting by SGA. I saw a montage of just Pascal cooking SGA, and I know he has the size advantage there. So the post-ups weren't all that surprising, but there was some like starting from the perimeter stuff with Pascal, like just going right by SGA, and this is a guy
Nemhard in
who.
game 1 too.
Oh yeah, I mean that
Yeah.
step back was just unbelievable.
Oh, disgusting.
Cooking.
he took him out for a dance on that one, but yeah, it's just real impressive stuff here by the Pacers, and I put this in the doc too. I want to mention this: they lost the rebound battle last night, 36-42. They lost the 3-point battle last night. They shot 33%. OKC shot 45%, and I believe they hit one less three than the Thunder did total as well. But they won the turnover battle and they won the assist battle, and it's funny because I think if you told Pacers fans and the Pacers team, hey, you guys lost the rebound battle tonight and the 3-point battle, they'd probably be like, oh, we got smoked by OKC. Well, no, they took care of the ball, which OKC usually does really well, and they shared the ball, which that's something the Pacers, might be the best team in the league right now in this season at doing. They're great at sharing the ball, and it helps when you start with Halliburton, who's super unselfish. And I'm not going to pretend that this is my own thought, but something that Bill Simmons has said a couple times this week is comparing Halliburton to like Nash in his prime. And it's so true because why is everyone on Halliburton about needing to take more shots and, you needing to assert yourself more when this is what he wants to do. He was a rebound shy of a triple-double last night, and, this is probably the worst any team has made OKC look in these playoffs. And it started with Halliburton, I think he had 20 points, right? I think he got his right around his average there. He averaged 19-9 on the season. He averaged 19-9 in the playoffs for his career. And that's kind of who Halliburton is. But he still had Stephen A. Smith going on First Take this morning, saying he's not a superstar still, kind of trying to go after Halliburton too.
It's crazy at this point. It doesn't even make sense.
Also, Jake, I'm guessing the answer is no, but do you claim Hoodie Garland at all on Twitter
absolutely
as a Cavs fan?
I'm an anti-Hoodie Garland account myself.
Last night he tweeted, or he or she, I don't know who's behind the Hoodie Garland profile, but they said the Indiana Pacers don't even deserve to be in the finals, man. It's like, what are we doing at this point? They're up 2-1. Like, who deserves to be in the finals more than that?
They just don't like the Pacers. That's all.
Hoodie thinks Cavs should be in the finals because Hoodie thinks if Darius was healthy that they would have won like in 5 games or something crazy like that. It's like, come on, bro. I don't know if the Cavs team wins.
You can't play the injury bug when you lose in 5. I'm sorry. If you lose 4-1, you can't play the injury card.
And they came back. Everybody played. There's no they were in the games, bro. Although Garland, that is one note, out 4 to 5 months with right toe surgery. Crazy. So that injury was very real and probably extremely painful.
That actually might have been why Hoodie Garland was lashing out last night. But like I would be lying if I didn't sit back and think a couple different times like, oh my God, like the Thunder look mortal right now. Like I wish the Celtics could have just made it, but I can have that thought and at the same time not think that the Pacers don't deserve to be there because this is why sports playoffs are set up this way. This is actually how we determine if they deserve to be there or not, and they absolutely do. And they're outplaying the Thunder right now, and I just think it's really hard for people to grasp or get over that. I don't know, but the Pacers are here, people, and it's really fun to watch. And the other crazy thing is like if the Pacers get bounced by the Cavs or even the Knicks, like this might be a candidate of a team to not maybe blow it up. Like I think Halliburton and Nemhard maybe still around, but who knows what happens this summer with the Pacers and the second apron and having to pay these guys. I mean, I'm sure Miles Turner's name would be in trade rumors again for the 12th year in a row. But so it's just I don't know. I'm running. I could say good things about the Pacers all night, and seem to be running out of things to say about this series in general because. 1, it's super puzzling, and 2, this is just a Pacers team I was not expecting to see in the NBA Finals.
Agreed, man, and it's gonna be. I think we're getting 7. I think
I
there's.
think
I
so.
think.
I feel that
I
way
think
too.
OKC is going to answer tomorrow, and I think that's the way this series goes. Is it's just back and forth, and then we just have a hell of a physical game 7 to decide it all.
Without without hearing the percentage that I gave, about 81% of teams winning the NBA Finals after going up 2-1. Would you guys still pick OKC to win, or are you guys flipping and saying you think the Pacers are going to win now?
So the betting market is minus 230 OKC still, which
Which
is
is insane to
crazy,
me.
right? Be down 2-1 and still be minus 230.
Poly market 67%.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because we saw how strong OKC bounced back in game 2. And we also know that OKC has led about 90% of this series in terms of just time of the games. I think OKC win in 7. I think the Pacers would have to win in 6 if it gets back to Oklahoma City. I just don't know if the Pacers can win in Oklahoma City. But I told you, Dunny, I'm rooting for the Pacers. I want to be wrong. I want the Pacers to win. And after that game last night, kind of got me hyped up a little bit. Like, oh, if the Pacers could get game 4, like they might actually do this thing. And if they do, no disrespect to OKC, and this season they had, obviously they would have an all-time great season with the total wins and being a 68-win team and win the NBA Finals. But if the Pacers are able to win this, and we look back on this in history, right, we're going to look back at the game-winning shots from Halliburton. We're going to look back at the comebacks, and then we're also going to be like, oh, they took out this Cavs team. They took out this 68-win Thunder team. This is going to be one of the more impressive playoff runs ever. And it's funny, you brought up Rick Carlisle on that Mavs team. Yeah, that was right with the NBA Finals, and no one expected to see it coming. But in terms of the playoff, like the entire playoff, the Pacers are doing something we really haven't seen before. Where they're kind of, I know they weren't the underdogs the first round, but they've been the underdogs the next couple of rounds, and they just keep winning games as underdogs. They just keep winning comebacks. They just keep hitting game winners. And if they can do it to two teams that were historically good with with the metrics this year, with the Cavs and the Thunder, we're going to look back at this as one of the best playoff runs we've ever seen.
Yeah, I completely agree. And you can't even really compare them to the 2011 Mavs, too, because, like, Dirk was a top 5 player in the league at that point. Like, maybe closer to 3, just by the time the postseason came around and how dominant he was. And, like, the Pacers don't have a guy like that. And that's not a knock on Halliburton, but it's basically every other game we're debating if Halliburton's cracking the top 10. And I think, those conversations deserve to happen, but I mean, Halliburton's never been looked at even close to a top 5 guy. And then Pascal, is great, but same thing with him. Like, he's like a top 25, 30 guy in the league probably. So it's great, man. They're kind of an anomaly. Another conversation I thought of today, and we don't have to get into a heated MVP debate, but I mean, this MVP for SGA is going to look a lot worse if they also don't win the championship this year.
Yeah, well,
like when we look back and we're like, Jokic got robbed and SGA didn't even go on to win it.
Yeah,
That's you'll have some more material on your side for the SGA shouldn't have won MVP rant, Steve. That's for sure.
Yeah, I will. I mean, I've exhausted that rant. The NBA MVP rant's killed me the past couple of years, but it wouldn't look great.
So where are we at officially then? I think I'm picking the Pacers. I'm not picking against them anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, I had OKC in 6. I didn't. I said at the time I would want to see the Pacers win. I had OKC in 6, which is still on the table. They would have to win 3 in a row, but I think the Pacers are going to do it, man. I think they changed my mind as well.
It's going to be hard for them to win in OKC if it gets to a game 7. So I almost feel like the Pacers got to win either game 4 or they got to do it again and somehow beat OKC in game 5. And I don't know, man. I don't think the Pacers lose 2 in a row, which means they're going to win one of those games, right? So you have a 3-2. You have a 3-2 series going into Game 6 in Indiana. If they're up 3-2, I think they close it out in Game 6. If they're down 3-2, if the Thunder win the next two, I think the Thunder win at 7. So it's either Pacers in 6 or Thunder at 7 for me at this point. But I'm rooting for the Pacers. I'm rooting for them. Like I said, this team's just been so much fun.
So fun. It would be the Pacers' first championship in a state that is unbelievably obsessed with basketball. So, I hope they can make it happen. I think Halliburton deserves it at this point. I think Halliburton deserves even more flowers than he's receiving from the national media. But this is it's a great series. I'm kind of just fucking sick of people even talking about the small markets and the ratings. It's like if you like basketball,
who cares about the ratings? Who cares?
Exactly. If you like basketball and you're tuning into these games, then you should know that this is great basketball, and it is.
Yep.
Like last night, we actually had a competitive, good game, start to finish. Looked like OKC was going to win in the first half. Then it looked like OKC was going to run away with it in the second half to start, and then quickly, abruptly, got put to bed. The Pacers bench really got it going. Halliburton was, pretty awesome the whole time. So, I don't know. I don't know how you couldn't love this series, to be honest. We get a Friday night game tomorrow, and it should be great, man. I'm really enjoying it. Do you guys? Can we spend a few minutes on the Knicks?
Yes.
And their fucking coaching search. They've
Just
called
getting
5
denied.
coaches. They've called 5 coaches that have jobs, and they're 0 for 5. Like I've never seen anything like this. You guys had a pretty well respected, good coach.
Yeah.
Like I could see if you were moving on and like you kind of had a plan, but to move on from your head coach who just got you to the conference finals for the first time in forever, and then to turn around and be like, we actually have no plan. Let's call everyone who already has a job and see if we can get one of those guys. This is probably the only thing I've agreed with Stephen A on in months, but he says the coaching search for the Knicks has been pathetic, and I mean that might be an understatement. This is insane. I've never seen this, and it's like guys who would. Maybe it's not obvious, but like it's guys who like if you had to take a guess wouldn't move on from the current situation they're in. Like Jason Kidd, I know he's probably a little sour about the Luka thing still, but like they're about to get Cooper Flag, and he has Anthony Davis. And who else? Like Ime Udoka. Why would Ime leave Houston? You see what he did in the 2 years that he's been there? Why would he leave Houston? And then Quinn Snyder. Like, oh yeah, I'm sure Trae Young's gonna just be cool with his coach walking away and going to the New York Knicks.
Makes no sense.
It's really, really weird stuff, man. And I don't know why you would fire coach if you're going to turn around and do this while the NBA finals are still happening.
Can I theorize?
Yeah.
There was a report, I think it was during the conference finals even, about how James Dolan was getting more involved again with the Knicks. He loved the Knicks fever, was really loving the energy about the city. He had been going to games, like been at every game. He had been around the building more often, everything else. This feels like a James Dolan move. This feels like something the old Knicks would do when James Dolan was directly involved in the proceedings, is fire a coach for no reason and then not have a lick of a plan to do anything about it. So those two things hitting, it makes me think the owner just got involved again, and bad owners destroy teams. And so sorry, Knicks fans, your owners never left. This little renaissance, you still had the same guy, and probably no matter whenever you were going to get good, he was probably going to rear his ugly head in again, no matter what. And I think that's what happened here. I think he probably just was made the decision like Tibbs isn't going to get it done, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And there are some real issues that were going on this year with Brunson's dad being on the staff is a weird dynamic to deal with. I think having a team,
and that's not changing too.
It's not changing. Having a team in a star-driven league that this has all the stars' best friends on it, probably not a great dynamic. Like childhood friends, like it's like we talked about last week. It's like an AAU team. Like that's not how you run an NBA team, man. So But that's how Dolan has operated since he's owned the Knicks, and so I'm not surprised that the Knicks are in turmoil again in this way. It's just shocking to see it happening when they were just in the Eastern Conference Finals. But we're used to the Knicks doing this stuff. Like it's not. This is typical Knicks. It's just why would you do this now?
Oh shit! Hold on, guys. I'm getting a call. It's the New York Knicks asking me if I want to be the next head coach. No,
I'll answer that call for you, Dunny. Yeah, we're gonna say no here. We're gonna respectfully decline, James.
Put the graphic up. Go 0 for 6.
Go play your banjo somewhere else, buddy.
Couldn't get Dunny from Happy Hour Hoops. No, it's strange stuff. I don't know. I don't know if this is necessarily true. It's also kind of weird to me, like for the free agent search that they're trying to do, because if they are actually trying to land a Giannis or KD, I don't know if this is the best look if you're getting denied all these coaches. I just don't know. Like, I don't know. Maybe they are interviewing coaches who don't have jobs, and that's just not getting reported because it's not as juicy. But I don't know. I also saw Centel say that they were interviewing Darvin Ham.
Good old Centel. Centel's having a field day right now.
Oh
It's just
my
Centel.
God.
Centel
is
only
this all
team having a better year than the Pacers.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much, too.
Is this just, though, is this all just Giannis stuff, really, though? Because I feel like the Jason Kidd part of it made me think that was all a Giannis request. And now I feel like it's like Giannis wants an established coach. Because let's think about the Bucks too. What did the Bucks do when they fired their last coach? They brought in Doc Rivers. They brought in a guy who had been around the block, who wanted no part of coaching again. We have to assume that was Giannis's doing, right? So Giannis loves Jason Kidd. Maybe Giannis is a bad taste in his mouth over working with a new head coach again. Wants somebody established. That's my thinking. Is the Jason Kidd thing really made me think about that? Because like, why would you like? What has Jason Kidd done the last 2 years that he's like he has to be your surefire number one? Like I like Jason Kidd. I think he's a fine coach. I don't think he's a great coach. The only reason you do that is because Giannis loves him, and we know Giannis loves him. He's on record saying that. So
could be.
Yeah, it's that is, I like that little wrinkle because that otherwise you don't know why they would ask J Kidd. Like I said when we first started talking about this. But then Giannis's tweets in the interview, he was saying how he wanted to get back to the finals and wanted to get back to the finals with the Bucks.
He also wants Woj back, which
that was
poor Shams.
I retweeted that.
I don't hate it though. I don't hate it.
I agree.
I feel the same way.
I don't hate it.
It's just weird for him to say that.
You must have been boys or something. Maybe they were texting buddies. Who knows? He misses his pal Woj, hitting him up, leaking shit to him. It is a pretty crazy thing. But maybe it is because, it is kind of wild that like Windy and Shams are out here, like basically just pumping their own content on ESPN for after the finals, being like, get ready, guys. It's going to get crazy. And maybe it will, but they're going to say that no matter what. Like they want you to tune into ESPN the day after the finals and have something to watch. So I see why Giannis is like, come on, bro. What are we doing? But anything else you guys want to touch on here?
I will say this. I was intrigued by this. 4 or 7 minutes ago now, Kevin Durant is expected to be traded by the Suns as soon as next week. So we could see.
He's going to the Spurs, right?
Spurs. Yeah. I think it's done already. Bill Simmons says he thinks the deal has been done and that they're like waiting.
Feels like it, yeah.
Yeah. And it makes sense. Texas, he's beloved in Texas. Wemby kind of needs another guy there. And,
that'll be fun, man.
Wemby, Fox, and Durant.
That'll be a fun team. I don't know how good they'll be, but they'll be fun.
Yeah,
they'll be fun.
I mean, they'll be.
It's a league pass team. It's a league pass team for sure right now.
Can't be any worse than last year. So.
No.
True.
But yeah, I think that should do it. Thank you guys for listening to Happy Hour Hoops. I mean, the Pacers are just fucking shocking the world. So get ready for madness tomorrow night. We may have all flipped our opinion on how this NBA Finals is going to go, but that's the league we love, baby. OKC at 6 could still happen, so we could still be right, but we are leaning Pacers now, up 2-1. Thank you everyone for watching, listening. Shout out Trainwreck Sports for Steve, Jake, and myself. Later, guys.
Peace.